What do you think about when you hear about the country Indonesia? Do you think about Bali or its beautiful beaches? How about their crime rates or their justice system? If you said yes to those last two questions, you're in luck because today we're talking about Indonesian serial killers. And some of their motives behind the crime may be shocking. Tubigis Maulana. Now, he was a serial killer who was a part of a trio that claimed they had supernatural powers. Two biggest power was multiplying money out of thin air, and you know what? So many people fell for it. But when his clients asked for results, he would invite them over to his home to show them proof. He would then give the client a poisoned coffee, and he would continue his crimes from 2007 until he was caught in 2008, and at this point, he had already killed 8 people. But finally, Tubigis and the two other killers were prosecuted and executed via firing squad in 2009. Antonius Bulow. Antonius, or better known as Rio the Death Hammer, was an outcast who was disowned by his own family at 8. And as he got older, he made a living driving cabs and selling false vehicle and ownership documents. After getting married in 1994, he became a car thief and was arrested soon after. But in 2000, he took a dark turn. He killed owners of rental cars with a hammer before selling the vehicles. It's not quite sure how he was caught, but in May 2001, he was arrested for his crimes. Unfortunately, his killing didn't stop there, because in prison, he murdered his own cellmate by bashing his head against the wall. And 3 years later, Antonius was executed August 8th, 2008, at 30 years old. Barry Idham Hinyansaya. Now, this killer usually went by Ryan and was a Quran recital teacher and also a male model. In 2006, he committed his first murder after inviting a guest to his parents' home. He beat the victim to death with a crowbar and stole his money. Ryan also murdered a businessman who showed interest in his boyfriend. He cut the man up in 7 parts and dumped them in bags in South Jakarta. Thankfully, he was arrested in July of 2008 after the remains were found, and he even confessed to 10 other murders. He was then sentenced to death on April 6, 2009, and to this day, he remains on death row. Astina. Astina came from a very poor family and was raised by a strict stepbrother. Stina was also easily offended by others, and it was the main reason she killed. She murdered and mutilated 3 women inside her rented home in East Java simply because they asked her to repay her loans. Each victim was chopped to bits and placed into plastic bags before being dumped to separate locations. And one of her victims' remains were never found. Then she would steal her victim's money to pay off her debt. It's unclear how she was caught, but she was arrested and sentenced to death in 1996 and executed in 2005. Ahmad Siraji. Ahmad Siraji was a known sorcerer who had plenty of female clientele. They would usually request spells to be rich or beautiful, or even to prevent their partners from cheating on them. Then one day, Ahmad claimed that his father visited him in a dream and told him to drink the saliva of 70 dead women to increase his supernatural powers. Ahmad agreed to it and began his killing spree. He would take his own female clients and bury them waist deep before strangling them and drinking their saliva. He also pointed the heads of his victims to his house for extra powers. Thankfully, he was arrested in 1997 after his death count rose to 42, and he was executed later in 2008. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tune in next week for some more true crime.